Hi guys, this is Ate Zen from Easy Excel with Zen. So this is another part of our series on pivot table. This time, more features, more tricks, and more formatting. To show you that, let's proceed to my spreadsheet. This is our file on collections with different mode of collection from different location and from different associates. We will create a pivot table out of this data and we will apply this 10 useful tricks. Okay? But before we begin, let me just remind you that ensure that your data will have headings or headers, because if one of these headers will be blank, then you will encounter issues or problems in your report later on. So again, please ensure you have a header on the file. Okay? So let's proceed. Keep your cursor in any of the data, okay, in any cell of the data, then click the insert tab and then click pivot table. So this dialog box will ask you where you want to save the pivot table. So new worksheet or existing worksheet. This time we will just choose existing worksheet and then click OK. So it will create a new worksheet on the left side of our main file. This pivot table fields will appear,
and what this field or this table will tell us or will require us is, we'll drag the fields in the respective areas, so the filter, to the rows, to the columns, and to the values.
But if we are not comfortable using this, there's another option to drag the fields inside the pivot table itself. So how we will do that? Let's go to options here on the left portion, upper left portion. Then choose this tab display. And we have here classic pivot table layout. So this will enable you to drag the fields inside the pivot table itself. So let's tick it. Okay, one click and then OK. So we can start dragging our fields in this pivot table. So what are the fields to be found in our rows? We want the location. Okay, so click and drag and drop. In the column headers or in the column what we wanted to put, we want the mode of collection. So mode of collection is here. So click, drag and drop. And now we want also the values. So the values is in the amount field. The amount is here. So click, drag and drop. Now our table is complete now. We have the information that we require. But one more is we will put a filter. We'll put the sales associate as the filter. Okay, so we can filter as per sales associate. So here are the names of the associates. So the dragging of fields is completed now. So what's the next trick? We can sort the fields alphabetically. So these are the fields. As you observed earlier, I keep on clicking this arrow down, arrow up, because I don't know where is the location of the fields. To make it easier and simpler for us to choose the field, we can sort all this. So we can go to this icon here, tools. Okay, click it, and then by default, our fields are sorted as per the columns in our data. So we can sort it alphabetically. Click this sort A to Z. Okay, so as you can see, it is sorted now. So it's easier for us to pick the corresponding fields and drag it into our pivot table. And then what's next? Refresh and change data source. Okay, so one of the issues in maintaining pivot table is refreshing the data or the table every time a new line item is added in our main file. For example, we will add a new line into this table or into this data. We'll just copy the last data and paste it on the last line item. So we have added 2,000 here. As you can see, in Davao, it's 17,800. But if we will add this function, okay, the refresh function, this 17,800 will be refreshed automatically. So how we will do that? Let's go to Analyze, then click Options, go to Data, and then click this Refresh Data when opening the file. And then click Okay. Now, change the source data, extend the cursor into the last line item, and then click OK. As you can see, it is automatically updated. So again, let's add another row, another line. So another 2000 was added. Let's change the source data, extend the cursor till the last line, and then click OK. As you can see, it automatically changes. So that's the benefit of keeping that refresh icon in the options. What's the next trick? It's change value in empty cells. We have blank cells here wherein the reader of this table might be thinking, what does it mean by these blank cells? In order for them to have a full grasp or full understanding of this report, we should put value on these blank cells. We have to go to Analyze and then click Options, Options again. Then let's go to Layout and Format. Here you can see for empty cells show, by default it is blank. So we can put 0, okay, so that it will give us a 0 value. So now it is better, it is the reader will understand that there's no collections on this particular location and particular mode of payment. So what's the turn off auto fit column width? So normally we are doing adjustments on the columns depending on the value or the amount in the table. We are adjusting it accordingly. So for example, we adjusted like that, and the moment we refresh it, the column width again will go back to its original size. So in order for us to fix that particular width, we have to turn off that auto fit. So let's go again to Analyze, Options, Layout and Format. Here on the bottom side, you can see auto fit column widths on update. So it is being ticked here. By default, it's ticked. So we can remove the tick mark here by clicking it once and then click OK. So every time we will change the width, the column width, we will resize the column width, it will remain the same even if we refresh it. See, there's no changes. So you don't need to keep on adjusting the width every time you have an issue with the space of the values inside the table. Okay, so what's the next trick? Group manually. We can group these rows according to our requirement. For example, we want to group these first two locations. So just highlight it, right click your mouse and then group. And then we want another group, or the second group, we'll just highlight the next three. Right click your mouse and then click group. So now we have two groupings here, group 1 and group 2. We can also change the name here manually. So I can put Team A, and then on the second group is Team B. If you don't want to see this hash here on the left side, we can also we click our pivot table again. We go to Analyze and there's a plus minus buttons here. Just click it. Okay, so those slash or dash are removed now. If your pivot table is on outline report, so I'll change it. I'll change the layout. For example, it is in outline form. So this is how it looks like. So the team or the group number or the group name will be on the first row, and then on the second row of the next column will be the location. But in order for us to have a better view, let's use the tabular form. Show in tabular form, so that the name of the team will be aligned with the name of the location. Another requirement is we want this group name to be aligned in all the locations. So that will be our next trick. Merge and center groupings. Again, let's go to Analyze, let's go to Options, and then in the Layout and Format, let's click this Merge and Center Cells with Labels. Tick it and then OK. So as you can see, it's now in the middle, or it is properly or proportionately allocated to all the locations. So Group A will be Bicol and Cebu, Group B will be Davao, Jensen, and Manila. so it is more visible to the reader, and it gives us an idea that okay, in team A I have 2 locations, in team B I have 3 locations. Our next trick is insert timeline. Aside from this filter field here on the pivot table and the insert slicer as a filter, we have another option to do filtering on dates. So this is the insert filter or insert timeline. So if I will click this, okay, it will give us 2 options, posting date and releasing date. Means there are 2 dates available in our data. Now I will just choose one, we'll choose posting date and then click OK. So it shows us another table here wherein it is grouped per year, quarters, months, and days. So the moment you click one of these months, it will show us the data of that particular month. We don't have data on March, April, January, but we have on December. So all the data that we have, it will show accordingly as per that particular month. Okay, so what's next? We have move pivot table. So sometimes we want to move the location of our pivot table. Normally what we are doing is we are deleting the pivot table and creating a new one. But there's a better option or another way of doing that, of moving the destination or the location of our pivot table. We can click our pivot table and go to Analyze, and there's a Move Pivot Table here. Okay, just click this icon, Move Pivot Table, and it will ask you whether you want to move it in a new worksheet or existing worksheet. This time it is located in A3. This is the A3, column A, line 3. So we'll delete this and we want to show it in A11. So it will move there accordingly. Okay, so whatever format it was shown before, it will also give us the same formatting. Okay, let's just undo the last action that we had, okay, to give way to the final trick. It is the creation of individual pivot table or filter. So what does it mean? So each of these sales associate will create a pivot table individually, and the sheet or the worksheet tab will be named according to this sales associate. So whatever data pertaining to those sales associate will be created individually. So let's try doing it. We'll click our pivot table, okay, in any of the cell, go to Analyze, and then here in the options, don't click the options, click the arrow beside the options. Click this arrow, then click this Show Report Filter Pages. So it will create multiple pivot table, and the name of its worksheet will be the sales associate, this sales associate. So let's do it. Then click OK, sales associate. But if there are other filters here, you have to choose which one you want to create. Then click OK. So as you can see, it created multiple pivot table with the same format, but the content is depending on how it was identified in the main file. So these are identified only for Lisa, this is for Melai, and this is for Nora. Okay, this is a great trick in pivot table, and eventually will give you a great time saving because you don't need to create individual pivot table with the same formatting and renaming it each worksheet. Okay, so let's go to our main pivot table and let's do the final formatting. You can change the design by going to the design and choose whatever option or whatever design that you wanted. And one more thing is this values, you can also change the formatting by doing a right click, click format cells. You can format the number as per your requirements. So number, I make it 0, and then separator as comma. In the alignment, I put it as center, okay, center, and then vertical is also center, and then click OK. I hope you have learned these 10 useful tricks and you'll be able to apply it into your files. So that's it for now. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video to others. Bye and God bless. Keep safe.